Welcome back to Swine TV. Does your disinfectant work in the wintertime? With Gisele Ravagnani, Technical Marketing Manager for North America for Lanxess. Welcome, Gisele.
Hi, Jim. Well, thank you for having me here. It's good to be back.
Well, it's great having you back on the program. What do you have an update from the field? How are the first few months going? And what are you seeing currently out there in the market?
Good. So since I moved to the US some months ago, everything is new. So even all the shows that we attended, the most common diseases that the farmers face. So um, basically, most important spurs, PED, and also um, the biosecurity measures that we can have and apply to avoid these two diseases, and of course other ones, and also diseases that we don't have here in the country, like African swine fever. So it's a little bit of everything, not just diseases, but also production, genetics, nutrition. So um, and that's the fascinating thing from the swine production. It's not just one exactly thing, so you can see and study and learn a lot of different things. It's very exciting.
So you've got a lot on the go, and as we approach the winter time, kind of the main topic here as we introed on was how does your disinfectant work in the winter? So I'm going to let you take the floor here and give us some good feedback on this.
Okay, good, Jim. For this topic, I prepared some slides that I think it will help us understand a little bit better and visualize some situations that we can face at the field. I'm gonna share my screen, so just let me know uh, if you can
Yeah.
see the presentation mode. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So the topic that we prepared today, it's about disinfection, and mainly because the winter is coming, we are on fall already, so the temperature is dropping. And one important point when we have this disinfection step in at the farms is pay attention if your disinfectant works during winter time or during those days that the temperatures are very low. So to begin, I have here what is disinfection. Um, And it's really important to understand what is disinfection, because disinfection is another step, of course, that we have the cleaning step before. So for disinfection, it's a physical and chemical process uh, where we achieve a very significant reduction in the number of the microorganisms that are present on a surface. It can be the barn surface, the wheels surfaces, the vehicle surfaces. In these disinfection steps, it consists of the application of a chemical agent, that is the disinfectant, and the disinfectant, that it's a chemical product, will destroy or inhibit the growth of these microorganisms that are present um, in these surfaces. So to be so a disinfectant, the disinfectant needs to achieve a reduction, a log reduction between 4 and 5. I'm going to explain a little bit better what it is, because sometimes we see the difference between a cleaner and a disinfectant, for example. So this reduction log, it's the level that the disinfectant uh, reduces the amount of pathogen that is present in a surface, and this reduction log, it's a level that does not represent a threat to the health. And other important point is, because as I said, before the disinfection step, we have the cleaning. So we have the cleaning step, we apply the cleaner and rinse that surface, and then we apply the disinfectant. But it's really important to wait until this surface is dry or not really wet to disinfect, because when we prepare a solution, disinfectant solution, we calculate the area and the right concentration of that disinfectant solution that we are going to apply. So imagine if we apply that disinfectant solution in a very wet surface, we'll have a different dilution at the end. So maybe it won't be enough to kill that pathogens that are present in that surface. So here we are talking about disinfectants. So here is just an example of how many different families, chemical and disinfectants families we can find in the market. And here it's also the spectrum of these disinfectants. For example, we can see that some kind of chemistries, they are more have more efficacy for bacteria or gram-positive, gram-negative. Others has more efficacy for viruses, non-enveloped viruses or enveloped viruses, and also some chemistry that has efficacy for both bacteria, positive, gram-negative bacteria, viruses, enveloped and non-enveloped virus, and fungi also. So here it's just because, and why I'm just showing this table, it's because disinfectants are not all the same, and we have a lot of options. And it's really important to know which one will works the best according to that challenge that we have, and also under field conditions. So another point is, I've presented this slide before at our first podcast here. And it's really important because when we disinfect, what we are disinfectant or what needs disinfection. So it's a vehicle, it's a evaporative cool cell pads, it's shoes, like for boot tips, it's surface. So, and we need to pay attention to the environmental conditions, because we have different temperatures, we have some disinfection situations. For example, if we're disinfecting a vehicle or a boat tip, for example, we will have different temperatures, and sometimes it can't control, and also the contact time. And it's important to have this in mind when we think about disinfection, and also during winter time, because it's our main, it's the topic here today. So during fall and winter, we have, of course, the temperature challenge, but also some viral challenges like high PathAI for poultry production, and for swine production, we have PRRS and PED that sometimes can be referred as seasonal outbreaks. So we know that in that particular season of the year, the numbers of cases will rise. So according to some data from USDA and the AASV, the number of PED cases rose significantly during the colder months during the 2013 and 2014 outbreak. So this was a really important outbreak here in the US. So we can correlate that these cases happen in this colder months. And also this movement of animals, in this case the pigs, it was also considered a primary vector of PD and also PRRS transmission. So in this case, it's very important that trailers, the trucks, all the vehicles that are transporting these animals, they should be very well disinfected using products that will perform really well in these environmental conditions, like during fall or winter, in the presence of very low temperatures. So regarding to the disinfectants, here in the US, disinfectants are required to pass to some efficacy testing. There are some conditions that under the EPA conditions are to have the EPA approval. So one of these tests that are done is that the disinfectant needs or has to kill that pathogen under room temperature, like 22 degrees Celsius or 72 Fahrenheit. And during winter, we don't have this temperature, so we have very low temperature. So we need to use a product that will continue work and be effective in these conditions, like winter conditions. So the temperature can play a major role in the efficacy of disinfectant, and it's well documented in some disinfectant chemistries. We can also like just Google it, and we will find this information also in scientific papers. So this can result in the disinfectant solution becoming ineffective against the pathogens of concern. So we think that we are disinfecting, that we are killing, reducing that pathogen amount in that surface, in that truck, for example, and this is not going to happen because we are using a chemistry that it's not, that will decrease its efficacy in this environmental situation. So also there are some situations in order to compensate any loss of efficacy under cold conditions, there are some corrective actions that may include raising the temperature, for example, that vehicles, it's like cleaning and disinfection stations, and sometimes you can find it's like baking areas where they clean and disinfect the trailers so they can control better the temperature. So this kind of stations, they can become very expensive or have a very high cost in this kind of facilities, equipment, and also energy. So besides that, we can just use a product that will work in low temperature, so it can be more, it can be cheaper. And also increasing the contact time of the disinfectant solution could help, given the surface being disinfectant. But we have to think that if we have to increase the contact time, we need that this surface remains wet. And for how long? We can control that. And why I'm saying this, because once we apply the disinfectant in the surface, and this surface is dry, we have no longer efficacy of this disinfectant. So if we need to increase the contact time and during winter time, it can be very difficult to keep the surface wet for a long time. For example, an hour, 40 minutes, it depends of each product. And also increasing the concentration of solution, because there are some chemistries that we can use, but we need to increase or double the concentration, and it may speed up the rescue, but it comes at a risk of toxicity and higher cost in use. And why not use a product that you can use the same dilution that we use during springtime, summertime, and you can use during wintertime with the same contact time and in these so different environmental conditions. So before I just share some data, I just would like to explain, because I will talk about the log reduction that I mentioned at the first slide and what log reduction is. So imagine we have an initial amount of pathogens on a surface, for example, a million of bacteria or UFC bacteria, and we apply a disinfectant that can achieve between 4 or 5 log reduction. In this case, here in this example, it's a disinfectant that will achieve log 4 reduction. So we have a million of bacteria on a surface, and after we apply this disinfectant, we will have only 100 bacteria remain in the surface. So that's why it's important to use a disinfectant, and also use a disinfectant that will achieve log 4 or 5 reduction. And so here we can see the log reduction of cleaners, and also in a case of sterilization, but in this case more for hospital facilities. So here I have a comparative between two different chemistries of disinfectant. So in this case, I also added here, if you have want more detailed information, here's the scientific paper where you can find all these data, also all the methodology that they use for this scientific paper. So in this case, in this first picture here, we have some data for glutaraldehyde. It's a aldehyde chemistry, and it was tested in this case in a 1% concentration in different contact times, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 30 minutes in different temperatures. So here it's in degrees, so 25 degrees, it's almost room temperature, and minus 10 degrees, so it's basically 14 Fahrenheit. So we can see how low is this temperature. So in this case, when we evaluate the log reduction, or the time and the temperature that we achieve this log 5 reduction, in this case, we only achieved in room temperature, or in 25 degrees. It's almost 22, 24. Sorry, it's almost 72, 74 Fahrenheit in this case. So in winter conditions, in very low temperature, in this scientific paper, in this methodology, it wasn't achieved, this disinfection. And we can also think, okay, let's reduce a little bit the log reduction. And if we evaluate the log 4 log reduction, it's the same. We didn't achieve any disinfection level of reduction. So evaluating our product, the Virkon S, they say the researchers did the same, used the same methodology, but in this case they use a more diluted concentration. So in this case they use 0.5%, the same for different contact times in evaluating log reduction. So remember, for disinfectants has to achieve log reduction between 4 or 5. So when we evaluate the 5 log reduction, Virkon S could achieve in different temperatures, even freezing temperatures, in 30 minutes contact time. For these pathogens, they use Salmonella typhimurium. So, and also in 10 minutes contact time, in this scientific paper, in these results, Virkon S achieved also the 5 log reduction in 10 minutes contact time in room temperature also. And if we evaluate a lower reduction, pathogen reduction, in this case, Virkon S achieved more reduction. So in 10 minutes, it kills or achieved a better log reduction in different temperatures in 10 minutes. So it's really important because, remember, again, we apply and we need the surface wet for this period so we can kill the pathogen. We need this contact time. So if we need like 30 minutes, we need this surface needs to remain wet for 30 minutes. And also some, these are internal data that we have, because we have some temperatures where the solution can freeze. So in this case, we tested adding anti-freezing compound that can be in this case, we use the propylene glycol in 2 different dilutions in very low temperatures. In this case, minus 10 degrees Celsius or 14 Fahrenheit, and look the reduction, the log reduction, it was around 5. So we achieved a good disinfection even in super low temperatures also. So pay attention when we are using a disinfectant in these conditions. And here it's we have a lot of data. Virkon S has been tested for more than 500 pathogens. So here is just I just summarized the more important pathogens for swine production, and we can just observe here that the product will keep effective even in lower temperatures and in the presence of hard water and organic challenge and in very low contact time. For example, for African swine fever virus, in 4 degrees or Celsius or 39 Fahrenheit, just 15 seconds, and it will kill the pathogen. For PRRS, 1 minute, porcine rotavirus, 10 minutes, very low temperature also. So keep that in mind, that you are using a product that will keep effective under these conditions. So, and also another examples of some scientific papers of evaluation that Virkon for an activation of PED virus at low temperatures on metal surfaces, we achieve disinfection and we kill the PED virus in a very low temperature, in a very economic also dilution. And also it's a interesting data that they tested the Virkon for disinfection, the boots disinfections for some visitors in Antarctica. So see, the boots were washed with 1% solution, and it achieved a very substantial reduction in colonies in this scientific paper also. And here, some more data, also with some poultry pathogen, avian influenza, also is presented here. So to summarize, we have Virkon S in our portfolio here in the US, and it's the right choice to use during winter time. So we have data, so you can evaluate, you can look that the efficacy will remain even in low temperatures, freezing temperatures, and there's no need to increase the contact time or the concentration. The product will keep working. In general, basically 10 minutes, it's all it takes to prevent a disease-causing organism from affecting your live production in cold and also in warm weather conditions. So this is the message, Jim, that I would like to share today. And it's really important to pay attention. Those are details, and those are very important details, because if you are using a product that it's not effective, we are just thinking that we are disinfecting, but at the end we won't. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, Gisele, this was very timely and important to present to our audience today. Do you have a final piece of advice that you can give?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's really important to know the product that you are using, investigate questions, and also read the labels. Because sometimes we think, I faced this situation in the field, some can think disinfectants are all the same, they will work the same, and it's not. Sometimes we are facing a challenge for one or two or some specific pathogen, and we are using a product that hasn't been tested. Or in this case, that the topic here today, it's winter time. So I'm just thinking that I'm disinfecting, and just check, pay attention if at the label the company provides this kind of information, and if it doesn't provide, you can just ask. And it's really important, super important to know this kind of things when we are doing the disinfection step.
Gisele Ravagnani, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.